What's up, guys? Rabbi Ashemeza here. Touching on this topic, is Islam idolatry? People are freaking out, but they just don't know, and I'm here to let them know. All right, according to Judaism, the verdict is not fully in. We don't have a Sanhedrin to decide this finally, so all we could use is intuition, i.e. common sense, and what we know regarding halakha. So, let's start off. Is Islam monotheistic? Yes, Islam is a monotheistic religion. However, it is foolish to think that only because you're a monotheist, you're not an idolater. I've said this many times. Clearly, if you worship one turtle, one lizard, one, elephant, yes, you could proudly claim to be a monotheist. However, from a biblical perspective, you cannot claim not to be an idolater, right? That's pretty simple. So yes, you could be a monotheist and be an idolater. The word idolatry in Judaism doesn't really mean idolatry. Avodah zarah, the term, means strange worship or foreign service, right? Meaning worshiping God in a way that He did not prescribe. That's quite simple. I know idolatry in English or shirk in Arabic means something else. I guess, how would you translate idolatry from or into Hebrew? I think the closest thing would be like avodat pesilim, the worshiping of statues, which itself is a form of idolatry. Don't get me wrong, but it's not limited to that. And shirk in Hebrew, I think it's shituf, which is partnerships, which there's a debate on whether it's idolatry or not, for Gentiles at least. I think Tosfos holds that this is why Ashkenazim are not considered, or Ashkenazim don't consider Christians idolaters, or at least non-Jews who embrace Christianity, while the Rambam does, right? Because Tosfos holds that like Gentiles aren't liable for the Aveira of Shituf. Anyways, you guys could look that up. Now, the idea that Jews believe that Muslims are going to go to heaven because they're ethical monotheists or something, this is actually not true. Even the Rambam says the opposite. The Rambam says in Hilchos Melachim that if you're a Ger Toshav, or one of the Chesed Umot Olam, the righteous of the nations, that yes, according to him, at least in one section in Hilchos Melachim, he says that you'll get a share in the world to come only if you believe the Torah is intact. Meaning, if you believe that the root of whatever you happen to be doing stems from some Torah ideal, which Muslims do not. So even according to the Rambam, Muslims do not get a share in the world to come. Not that the Rambam even classified them as Noahites to begin with. I get it. Rav Kook and other rabbis, I guess because of Chet HaMechira, they i.e. Israeli politics, they started to say that Muslims had the status of Gerim Toshavim, of like resident aliens, which is not something universally held. Most people don't know that the Judaism that's taught regarding Islam nowadays, mainly because of this whole PC culture, try to be friends with everyone, is really influenced by secular Israeli politics and not actual halakha. So, that being said, is Islam idolatry? If a Jew converts to Islam, it's hard. You'd be hard-pressed to find a rabbi outside of the Rambam to state that that would not be a form of idolatry, a form of avodah zarah, right? Saying that the Torah is not applicable anymore, that itself is a form of avodah zarah. You're worshiping God in a way that He did not prescribe. But this is clear. Now, one could say that a Gentile is allowed to practice a religion of Islam and not be liable for the sin of idolatry. That's not the statement made by Muslims to everyone that Islam is not idolatry. No, from a Jewish perspective, it is. Meaning, what's good for us, a Jew cannot convert to Islam without practicing idolatry. Just like a Jew cannot convert to Christianity without practicing idolatry. Messianic Judaism is something else. So, however, there's an allowance that yes, possibly if a Gentile, a non-Jew, happens to practice Islam, he's not liable for the sin of idolatry. Just like the popular opinion in Judaism that if a Christian, a Gentile Christian, embraces, or remains a Christian, he's also not liable for the sin of idolatry. Mainly by Ashkenazim. Nowadays, for some reason, Ashkenazim have become Sephardi just because it's been popular to be an ingrate in your host country that treated you so good. So you're going to mistreat those who treated you well for so long. Fine. We have issues. So, in the macro, from a Torah perspective, Islam is idolatry, meaning the Torah doesn't talk about righteous Gentiles. It's a halachic status. It's a status of rabbinic Jewish law. According to halakha, it seems that a Gentile would be allowed to practice Islam without being labeled an idolater. But from a macro perspective, from the important perspective, from the Torah perspective, it is a form of idolatry for anyone who knows better. Thank you.